Welcome to T3 Learning Videos Series 1. In this video, we are covering shift operation planning, and we will have a look at how we can create a new shift and define all the attributes. So there are some prerequisites before we create shift, and these are used while creating shift. So the first one is award rules. So you need to configure award rules before creating shift if these awards needs to be implemented with the shift. And then second is a demand plan. So you need to create demand plan in advance to be used while creating the shift. The third is a competence. So you need to define competencies prior to creating shift if you are using competence or competence based scheduling of workforce is needed. Holiday plans can be managed in two ways. Either you can enroll this particular shift in a holiday plan so that holiday can be automatically added to the shift. So if you want to do that, you can define holiday plan. Otherwise you can manually add holidays in the shift also. You need to define organization structure like operating unit and work location that this shift is going to be defined for. And the last thing is drop down. So all the drop downs needs to be defined in advance, like shift type, work activity, holiday types, break type, work location. All these drop down listing needs to be configured before setting up the shift. There are 5 steps involved in creating the shift, and it starts from first step, which is adding a new shift and defining the role. And then the second step is setting up day-wise weekly working schedule, and then we will see in the third step, review, adjust demand, and select reward plans, and define meal breaks if there are any during the shift, and then public hot details and exceptions to be defined at the end. So while setting up shift operation, there's a pop-up, which will be where you need to define information about the shift, and these are the fields which are to be used for defining the shift, and they are explained here. So we will continue with creating the shift. So this is the application shift operation planning that needs to be open, and the existing shifts are getting displayed. To create a new shift, press add shift button, new shift button, and this pop-up appears. You can define shift ID and give a desired shift name, and then you can define the shift type, or you can duplicate from existing shift if needed. So you can just select the shift that you want to duplicate, and after that you can define shift type. This is a drop down listing, so you can set up this list and then you can select here. High duty allowance is eligible or not eligible. This is a primary rule that you need to define, that this particular shift is eligible for high duty or not. Costing segments to be defined. How you want to the costing to be handled for this particular shift. And then overtime rules are defined, or how if overtime, this shift is eligible for overtime, then you can define on which operating location or operating unit this particular shift is applicable. Then you select the demand plan. So you need to configure demand plan in advance, and you need to use this demand plan here to populate all the demand position wise requirements applicable for the shift automatically. Effective date is the date from which you want to start using this shift. Reporting time is start time and end time. You can define using 24 hours time format. So this is like 8 in this particular shift, which is for 38 hours a week. We are defining time from 8 to 4. And maximum hours one person can be scheduled is 12. Weekly 45 hours is the maximum ceiling for scheduling, and then there's 10 minutes grace. If you are late reporting, then 10 minutes grace is provided, and then meal breaks criteria is defined here in calculation. Once the shift is created, okay, then automatically all the details got populated here, day wise, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So 8 to 4 is the standard time that is automatically built here, and Saturday, Sunday is given off because we have configured in the organization that Saturday, Sunday is a weekend, or weekly offs in general. Okay, and then based on this demand plan that we selected on the top, all the demand is automatically populated along with the competency profile. So number of resources and the gross hourly demand is calculated here per day. So or per week. Okay, so I mean this way the costing is not yet calculated because we need to still define some more information in the demand plan, even though it is populated automatically, but still you need to add more information. So let's move to the next step, which is about defining work days. Okay, so now how you can set up, because work days are already created in the system. Now what you need to do is just change if there is any need, otherwise you can just proceed. Okay, in this case we are going to change and put on Monday and Friday we are changing the work schedule. Okay, so this is the pop-up. Using that you can add work day or edit work day information, and then these are the fields and they are explained. So in this case the shift is starting from, let's say, whatever time, so and then till 4. So on Monday we have put up exception that we want to start at 9 instead 8, so we are working less on Monday. So this is how this particular work schedule is. And then secondly, we will work 1 hour less on Fridays to extend the weekend. Maybe this is the policy of the company. All right, so I mean this is just an example or business case. I mean you can create any type of shift that is applicable to your organization. So days is can be selected from Monday to Sunday, any day you want to select. Okay, by default it is created because it is generated automatically, so you can just edit and just define the rules, but not to select the day, because day is probably populated automatically. The type, there are three values you can configure in the types. Okay, working, not working, weekend. So we will see all these details in the coming step 2 video. And let's go ahead from here. And so here we come and we are editing Monday. Okay, and for example Monday we want to change 8 a.m. is the start time, so we want to make it 9, and we are giving we are starting 9 a.m. on Monday, for example. And then on Friday we are again changing that we will work 1 hour less, so we will work up to 3 p.m. So we are just changing it to 15, and this is how it makes it 38 hours a week. Okay, which is updated here. Okay, now in case of Saturday and Sunday, you need to understand one thing. If this weekly off, you need to select only if this is payable. So this Saturday, Sunday, if it is they are payable, then it should be weekly off. Otherwise you should select them as a not working. Not working means no pay, weekly off means pay. Okay, and that's all. I mean we this is how you can configure all the work days that is needed uh, to meet your requirements. Okay, and the next step is about reviewing adjusting demand, which is automatically populated, and linking that with the respective reward award plans. Okay, so here we go. So in this case, like this is the pop-up that we need to, because since demand is automatically populated, so you don't need to add. You can add also, but in this case we are editing the demand using this edit pencil button. And once you press this button, there's a pop-up appears here, which is which looks like this, position, regular, standby and all, and each field is explained here in the right hand side, which is about how this value is to be used. And then next is the video. Okay, so like for example functional analyst, we are editing this, 6 resources are required, and then we are, for example, we are changing, okay, the requirement from maybe 6 to 7 or 7 to 8, whatever. And we can also define the award plan. For example, this is AW2E012 is applicable, okay, for this particular position. So automatically regular rate, extra rate got populated, and and then you can define the overtime eligibility, which is for a specific position. So this is override. So whatever you define the shift will be overridden by this. And then you can define cost center also, okay, and then this way this weekly costing is calculated based on the regular rate. Now in the second case, we are trying to add a new demand which is not there. For example, new position, if we need to add in this, then we can define here, okay. So like in this case, we are trying to add new demand, means new position to the demand. So we will select a position using this drop down list, okay. And then for example, we are selecting here position, okay, which is let's say electrician, okay. And then we are defining the quantity, that is number of resources we need. So 2 resources are needed. And then we can select the competency profile if we have, otherwise we can say which rate is applicable. So we can select this rate, okay. So this is a award plan. Now we can also again set the overtime eligibility rules and maximum ceiling. And comp of against overtime is about adding this extra work into your PTOs. And that's also, this is how it is calculating. Time punch also you can define if it is required, not required, here using this radio button. And this way you can edit or add demand in your shift, okay. Now next stage is about defining meal breaks, if any, during the shift. So let's go into this. So this is the pop-up for creating adding meal breaks. It has five fields, okay, and all of them are explained here. And let's start with understanding how we can add shift, okay, or how we can add break, sorry, yeah. So in the break, we add a break here, okay. So we can have multiple breaks or single break. So this type is also drop down list, so you can configure, okay, whatever names you want to give, or you can add more start time, end time of this break, okay. So it calculates duration in minutes. And then you can add one more break, meal break, okay, which is lunch break. So let's add that. So lunch break is, again, we can set the timing, whatever start time and time. And let's say it's to 12:30 to 1, okay. So this is for 30 minutes lunch break. All right, so this is how we set up this, and breaks are defined in the system now. And then once you finish the break, the last step is to define public holidays or exception if there are any. So let's move to step number 5, which is about defining public holidays and exceptions. So again, public holidays, this is the pop-up, okay, and you can define all these whatever number of holidays you have, you can define this. There is another way to define holidays, or to add holidays automatically in the shift, is by enrolling this particular shift in the holiday plan, okay, so which we will explain in some other tutorial, okay. And in this case, we have 4 fields here, okay, and these are explained. And also exceptions are covering some very peculiar schedules. If you have, like, for example, if you don't work last Friday of the month, if you don't work, then you can define that under exception. And this is how we are going to define these exceptions here. And then public holidays, so you can manually add a public holiday here, okay. So you can add specific dates and give a name to a holiday, and select the type of holiday. Holiday type is important because this is used sometimes in award plans to interpret, awards. So some awards are based on holiday types. Okay, like if you are taking a holiday on a Christmas Eve or on a Christmas day, then you get a very special rate as compared to other holidays. So you can define that. And so you can define multiple holidays here. And these holidays, like I said before, it can also, get automatically, inserted or pushed in the shift if they are enrolled in the holiday plan. Okay. So after, holiday plans are created, we will just go and create one exception. Okay, like for example, like if you don't work last Friday of the month or whatever, then we can define exceptions also here. Okay, like in this case, we are trying to add one exception. Okay, which is about uh, not working on a specific day. Okay, so you can define, okay, whatever, like, okay, or you don't work on a November 23 because it is a national day or office birthday or okay, or anniversary, company anniversary or whatever. Yeah, so depending upon the need, but it can also cover the exceptions, like if you don't work on a specific day in a month, you can define, you can cover that. All right, so this covers, and then last thing is to save this record, the most important thing, because if you don't save record, you can save in between also, but you must save. Okay, so here we say, and then using this toolbar, you can save this record. You can save record in between also, but then you have to edit and add more information to your shift, and then once your shift is finalized, you can finally save again. And that's all we have in this video. Thanks for participating in learning T3.